Good afternoon, dear students. How are you all doing? Hopefully, you all are doing fine. Fantastic, right? Okay. So, dear students, the topic that we were doing, if you talk about the chapter as such, it was international trade. It was international trade. Within international trade, we have done, sir, about the different trade related theories, the trade related policies, right? Trade related theories we have discussed the different trade related policies. We have also discussed negotiations. So in international trade there were 5 units, and if you remember, we have done all three already. Number one, trade related theory, international trade theories, we have completed. Then sir, what was the second one? Second one, dear students, would be we had discussed about policies, trade, international trade policies, of course, where we talked about dumping duty, anti-dumping duty, CVD, countervailing duty, and so many other things. And then we had spoken about trade negotiations. And then we had spoken about trade negotiations. Done. So, friends, we had completed all this. And now, eventually, we are moving on to the fourth, and then we would move to the fifth point. Fifth is not today's agenda, so I wouldn't write it. Today's agenda would be exchange rate and its economic effect. Exchange rate and its economic effect. Friends, in a brief way, initially, some classes back, I had discussed about exchange rate, but it was only a 2 to 5 minute discussion. Today, we have entire class with us to talk about this. Exchange rate and its economic effects. Exchange rate and its economic effects. Acha, before I start the class, there are two to three things I expect you all are sitting with. Number one, priority would be ICAI mat. I am hoping you are sitting with ICAI mat right now. Number two would be you are sitting with a copy where you are maintaining your notes and a pen, right? Please be seated with this stuff because there is a lot that we have to discuss today. Okay. All right. So, exchange rate and its economic effects. Sir, so it falls upon us to understand the meaning of foreign exchange. The first question would be, what is foreign exchange? The first question should be, what is foreign exchange? The first question should be, what is foreign exchange? Isn't that, dear friends? Yes, sir. That should be our first point. Yes, sir. That should be our first point. So let's talk about that first, and then we will proceed thereon. Okay. Question is, what is foreign exchange, or what is exchange rate? Anything could be the question. Slash exchange rate. They are more or less trying to indicate the same thing. Okay. So, in simple words, friends, suppose I tell you that you want to buy a piece of apple. Okay. Acha, when I say apple, apple not as a brand, but as a fruit apple, I am talking about. Okay. So, suppose one apple you want to buy. Let's say one apple costs you rupees 10. So, apple is a product for which currency you have told is rupees 10. Now, this is rupees. Rupees is used in India. India is our home country. So we can say rupees is our home currency. So we can say rupees is our home currency. So rupees is our home currency. We can say rupee is our home currency. Right? Bus. Dear students, instead of this apple, suppose now, instead of buying apple, your plan is to visit America, United States of America. Of course, you are going to spend money there. And of course, you need US dollars for that. This time, your commodity, the product, वो सामान जो आपने खरीदना है, जो आपको खरीदना है, वो क्या हो गया? अब ध्यान दीजिए, जो सामान अब आपको खरीदना है, वो अब एक एप्पल नहीं रहा बल्कि एक दूसरी कंट्री की करेंसी है, क्योंकि आपको उस कंट्री में जाना है तो उस कंट्री की करेंसी लेकर जाना होगा। अब उस कंट्री के करेंसी को लेने के लिए आपको कुछ पैसे देने होंगे, जितने पैसे देने हैं उसे एक्सचेंज रेट या फॉरेन एक्सचेंज कहते हैं। द अमाउंट ऑफ इंडियन करेंसी, that is home currency, you have to give to buy 1 unit, in this case $1 of foreign currency, is called exchange rate or foreign exchange rate, whatever you want to call it. So one apple, instead of one apple, if I write $1, $1, here the product is $1. Suppose $1 roundabout, I'll not be exact, is around rupees 80. Okay, I'll not be exact as it keeps on fluctuating. So this is called exchange rate. Is that clear? एक फॉरेन करेंसी को खरीदने के लिए आपको कितना डोमेस्टिक करेंसी देना पड़ेगा, उसे हम लोग एक्सचेंज रेट या फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रेट कहते हैं। उम्मीद है सभी को क्लियर है, हाँ ना बोलना होगा जी। कम ऑन एवरीबॉडी। राइट सर, इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर टू अस। राइट सर, इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर टू अस। राइट सर, इट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर टू अस। So we could write, it refers to money, it refers to money denominated in a currency, it refers to money denominated in a currency other than domestic currency, other than domestic currency. Got it everyone? Yes sir, it's crystal clear. दोस्तों यहां तक चमका नहीं चमका बताइए फटाफट। Friends, is that clear? Not clear? Come on friends. Yes, something like this we have spoken early on as well. Great. Yes sir, it's crystal clear to us. Can you elaborate further? Can you elaborate further? Definitely we are going to elaborate further. First note this much down. Okay, I'm just waiting. But sir, next question is, why do we need a foreign currency? The next question is, why do we need a foreign currency? Why is it needed? Why do we need a foreign currency? Friends, there are multitude of reasons. As written in ICAI MAT, these are around 4 to 5 reasons. You would see in the first page of the notes itself. The reasons behind maintaining foreign currency. You see, we have to buy some assets from abroad. Okay. We have to pay some liability abroad. Suppose we had taken some loan from abroad and now we want to pay that back. So we got to have foreign currency with us. We need foreign currency for tourism. And also we need foreign currency to meet any other expenditure that may become necessary. Any other expenditure. That is the main idea. Why do we need a foreign currency? Since it's an MCQ setup, we don't need to elaborate on this one. Only the basic knowledge of why we need it is enough. Right, sir. So first, let's see the ICI mat, whether we have understood this part correctly. So see, first, okay, then we have understood why it's needed. First of all, a transaction that requires settlement and where an enterprises enter buying or selling goods, borrowing funds, prepaying funds, any other thing. Now we are going to speak about exchange rate regimes. Exchange rate regimes. Exchange rate regimes. Suppose, friends, I just told you $1 equals to rupees 80. Now this is my question to you all. अब मेरा आपसे एक क्वेश्चन है. मैंने आप सबको बोला कि $1 जो है वो 80 रुपए के करीब है. ठीक है, मैंने आप सबको कहा कि $1 80 रुपए के करीब है. अब मेरे सवाल का जवाब आप मुझे दीजिए, है ना. गिव मी द आंसर टू द क्वेश्चन आई एम आस्किंग. इफ $1 is rupees 80, if $1 is rupees 80, if $1 is rupees 80, my question to you is, my question to you is, how has it been decided? ये डिसाइड कैसे हुआ? कौन डिसाइड किया? Who has decided this? Come on guys. Come on everyone. Who has decided this is my question to you all. Exchange rate regimes. Regimes का मतलब है how they are decided. Regimes is the different concepts of how exchange rate is determined. My question to you is, ये किसने decide किया $1 80 rupees होता है? Who have decided this is my question to you all. Correct. This is what the concept of exchange rate regime is. Regime का मतलब है कैसे निकाला गया? How was it calculated? Under what system was it calculated? Regime is referring to that system through which exchange rate is calculated. Let me write it for you all. Regime, system used for computing, system used for computing, system used for computing exchange rate, system used for computing exchange rate, system used for computing exchange rate, system used for computing exchange rate. Is that clear so far, dear? Right, sir, it's crystal clear to us. Right, sir, it's crystal clear to us. Let's talk about this now. So what is regime? Regime means the system, friends, used for computing exchange rate. Is that clear? Regime means the system, friends, used for computing the exchange rate. But now, let me highlight for you, there are three main regimes that was followed in our country or that is being followed in our country. There are three categories that you need to understand. Free float, free float rate, managed float rate, managed float rate, and fixed float rate. Friends, I want to give you all an analogy. Are you ready for it? मैं आपको एक कंपैरिजन देना चाहता हूं इसको रियल लाइफ से, जिससे आप समझ सके. तो क्या आप लोग तैयार है क्या? मैं कुछ अनरिलेटेड बात करने वाला हूं, बट आपको ये तीनों एक्सचेंज रेट समझ में आ जाएगा. आई विल बी टेलिंग समथिंग विच इज अनरिलेटेड एंड एकदम ऑफ द टॉपिक, बट यू विल डेफिनेटली अंडरस्टैंड दिस थ्री रेजिम्स if you allow me to, and I will only speak up when you all are ready, when you all write ready in the chat box, please. Yes, we will make notes on all this, but first be ready so that we can talk on it, I can talk on it. Great, sir, we are indeed ready for what you have to say. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Regime, my dear students, is the system used for computing exchange rate. Okay, so now let's talk about it. Suppose we have a kid and we have their parents, kids parents. So these are the parents. Okay, and this is the kid. This is the kid. Okay. Is that clear? Now, friends, the parents can raise this kid in three ways. Number one, number one, parents tell the kid, do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to. It's like that Hindi movie, DDLJ, I guess, है ना? Where in the end, the father of the girl tells, "Ja Simran, ja जी ले अपनी जिंदगी." That can be one treatment. Yes or no? The parents can treat the kid this way. Number one, this is called free float, where here the kid is the exchange rate. The kid is the exchange rate. Parent is the government. So government tells the exchange rate, okay, go and fluctuate as much as you wish to based on demand and supply situation. We are not going to interfere with your life. Number one. What is managed float, sir? Now, suppose the second case. The second case where the parents tell the kids, okay, go do whatever you want to do. Okay, go and do whatever you want to do. Go and do whatever you want to do. But we will try to control you if there is something wrong that we observe. So the kid is living his own life. But if suppose the kid has done some mischief, you know, the kid has done something what he or she was not supposed to do, then the parents exercise some control on it. That is managed float, where within a certain limit, parents, that is the government, has prescribed some limit for the child, that is the exchange rate. Within this limit, the child can do whatever they want to do. That is, the exchange rate can fluctuate within that limit as much as it wants to. But if it tries to hit the top ceiling or floor bottom, then the parents will control it. The goal of the parents is to keep the child, that is to keep the exchange rate within this top and low level rate. Understood? That is managed float. Freedom to some extent, control to some extent. And finally is the fixed float. Here the parents tell the kid, okay, whatever we tell you to do, you will do that. जो हम बोलेंगे करने वो करना होगा. मतलब simply here the government or the RBI of the country decides the exchange rate. This is in simple language the different regimes of exchange rate. Is that clear to you all? Yes or no, everyone? Come on, guys. Is that clear, everybody? Yes or no? So that we can start writing on it. Okay, if you all are ready. Okay, sir, clear. Sir, it's clear. Right. So let's write down in brief about them, and then I will make you mark in institute material as well, so that if you want to read for future reference, you can read that. Okay. So let's write it down first of all. Okay. Free float. Free float exchange rate. Here, here, exchange rate is entirely decided. Here, the exchange rate is entirely decided by market forces. Here, exchange rate is entirely decided by market forces of demand and supply. here exchange rate is entirely decided. Here exchange rate is entirely decided by the market forces of demand and supply. Entirely decided by the market forces of demand and supply. Here the exchange rate is entirely decided by the market forces of demand and supply. Here the exchange rate is entirely decided by the market forces of demand and supply. Here exchange rate is entirely decided by the market forces of demand and supply. There is no major control by government or RBI. We will talk about it in details as well. हम लोग इन चीजों के ऊपर डेप्थ में भी बात करने वाले हैं, किंतु पहले अपने को बेसिक्स में तो समझ में आया कि बात चल क्या रहा है, मामला चल क्या रहा है. Is that clear, friends, so far? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes, sir. We have understood that indeed. Very good. Very good. Very good. So number one, this is free float exchange rate. Number one, this is free float exchange rate. Sir, what is number two? Friends, number two is, friends, what is number two? Is manage float exchange rate. What is number two? Is manage float exchange rate. Is manage the float exchange rate. So what happens here is that here government fixes the intervals / limits, both upper and lower. यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट लिमिट फिक्स कर देता है. टॉप लिमिट, सपोज टॉप लिमिट इज $1, कैन मैक्सिमम बी ₹80. Bottom limit can be $1, should not go below ₹60. $1 should not become ₹50. $1 should not become ₹55. The goal of the government is to keep the value of $1 in terms of rupees within a certain interval. Here government fixes the intervals, limits for both upper and lower for exchange rate. For exchange rate. So normally, friends, if exchange rate, this is the top limit TL, this is the bottom limit BL. Now, if the exchange rate fluctuates within this levels, government is not going to do anything about it. Government is not going to do anything about it. Government is not going to do anything about it. But if exchange rate tries to go below this, or if exchange rate tries to go above this, then government is going to apply a break. Then government is going to apply a break. Then government is going to apply some controls. Understood, not understood? Yes, sir, it is understood by yes. So this is what I am telling. Here government fixes the intervals, both upper and lower, for exchange rate. For exchange rate. Exchange rate can freely fluctuate. Exchange rate can freely fluctuate. Can freely fluctuate within this interval. Within this interval, and interference by the government. When will the government interfere? When the exchange rate is trying to cross the ceiling margin, that is the top ceiling or the bottom floor. And interference by government is only when exchange rate is crossing the limits established. 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 That is called managed float exchange rate. That is called managed float exchange rate. Is that clear, friends? Yes or no? So I will read both of them for you so that कोई नहीं read कर पाया तो मैं उनका help कर सकूं. पहला है free float exchange rate. Here exchange rate is entirely decided by market forces of demand and supply. There is no major control by the government / RBI. What is managed float? Here government fixes the intervals, both upper and lower for exchange rate. Exchange rate can freely fluctuate within this interval, and interference by the government is only when exchange rate is crossing the limits established. 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 Friends, is that crystal clear to us? Yes or no? Come on, everyone. Crossing the limits established. Established by the government. जो गवर्नमेंट ने लिमिट एस्टैब्लिश किया है, अगर उसको क्रॉस करेगा तो गवर्नमेंट इंटरफेयर करेगा. कैसे, वो मैं अभी बताऊंगा आपको. उसके लिए पूरी क्लास बाकी पड़ी है अभी. उम्मीद है बात समझ में आया होगा जो बोल रहे हैं. Friends, I hope it's crystal clear till here. Come on, everybody. Okay. Friends, so this is what managed float is. But now it is fixed exchange rate. Who will tell me what is fixed exchange rate and what I should write under fixed exchange rate? मैं नहीं बताने वाला कि इसमें क्या लिखना है, आप लोग मुझे बताइए. फिक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट में क्या लिखना चाहिए अपने को? What should we write under the heading fixed exchange rate regime? I am not helping you all. You all have to help me. Come on, everybody. Correct. Is that clear, friends? Yes, sir. Fixed exchange rate regime. So friends, what are we speaking about? Friends, we are speaking about fixed exchange rate regime. Sir, what are we speaking about? Sir, we are speaking about fixed exchange rate regime. What happens here is, friends, the exchange rate is fixed by the government. Bus, that's it. Who fixes the exchange rate? Government fixes the exchange rate. I ask again, who fixes the exchange rate? Government fixes the exchange rate. That's it. Full stop. Okay, correct. Government and RBI decide. All of you have written very good. All of you have understood it correctly. Correct. Government or central bank, that is RBI in our case, of course, decide the exchange rate. Decide the exchange rate. Friends, first write it down and then let's see whether we are able to relate it with whatever we have, whatever has been written in our respected ICAI's material or not. First of all, write it down and then I will discuss with you all. Yes, it's correct. Yes, it's correct. So everybody, let's indulge into the institute's book. Let's see. See, here it is. The different exchange rate regimes, as you can clearly see. See, free float, we discussed. I will discuss from the book as well, don't worry. Managed float, we discuss. And fixed, we discuss. We discuss all the three, and you see it has been written here. And you see it has been written here. Right? How rate is calculated, we will discuss. But first, let's prepare ourselves from the material, okay? In a free float exchange rate system, government and central bank do not participate in the market for foreign exchange. I told you, no interference. Let the child do whatever they want to do. Yes or no? The relation between government and central banks, on the other hand, and currency market is much the same as the typical relationship between institute and market. So a free floating has the advantage of being self-regulating. Self-regulating because nobody is controlling it. Market forces of demand and supply are maintaining it. See, now how it is free float, I will give you an example. Suppose, for example, there is a dramatic shift in the world preferences for Canadian goods. Friends, now you tell me, अगर लोगों को कनाडा के goods and services, अगर लोगों को कनाडा के goods and services, if people love goods and services in Canada, then their demand for Canadian currency, that is Canadian dollars, will rise or fall. You all tell me. Yes, sir, it will rise. So the value of Canadian currency will rise or fall. Rise, because you all know this, that अगर demand बढ़ता है तो उसकी कीमत भी बढ़ेगी. If demand rises, then the value is also going to rise. I repeat, if the demand for a currency rises, then the value, the price of that currency is also going to rise. Yes or no? Okay, so pay attention. So everybody, please pay attention. So everybody, please pay attention. Sir, this much we have understood. So what I tell you all is this: the primary difficulty with free floating exchange rate lies in their unpredictability. That is the biggest problem. So what is the biggest problem with free float? Unpredictability. Unpredictability. So biggest problem with free float is that it is unpredictable and self-regulated. Means market decides. Unpredictable plus self-regulated. Unpredictable plus self-regulated. Unpredictable plus self-regulated. Everybody, unpredictable plus self-regulated. Unpredictable plus self-regulated. Is that clear so far? Yes or no, friends? Sir, we have understood. So this is the first point. Have you written it? Unpredictability plus self-regulated. Then we move to the managed float. Then we move to the managed float. We have already written, we are just revising from the material. Government and central bank often seek to increase or decrease their exchange rate by buying or selling their own currency. Yes, exchange rate are still free to float. See, they are still free to float, but governments try to influence their values. It is also called managed float because government sets the limit. Government sets the limit, that is ceiling. And what is fixed exchange rate system? The exchange rate between two currencies set by the government. What are the main advantages of fixed exchange rate regime? Number one, avoids fluctuations, enhanced international trade, reduced speculation, that is guesswork. A fixed exchange rate imposes discipline, greater investment and trade. So the advantage of fixed exchange rate is, everybody, the advantage of fixed exchange rate regime is lesser fluctuations, lesser fluctuations. There will be less fluctuations, more trade and investment. Two major advantages that you got to write. More trade and investments. More trade and investments. This we have got to write. Understood, not understood, everybody? Please clarify this. अनप्रेडिक्टेबल मतलब आपको पता ही नहीं है क्या होने वाला है एक्सचेंज रेट. फिक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट में हमें पता है प्रेडिक्टेबल है, मतलब हमें पता है गवर्नमेंट ने अगर $1 ₹60 रखा है तो कल को 61, 69, 59 इसके अराउंड रहने वाला है। बट अब आप ये सोच के देखें, अगर यहां पर अगर यहां पर आपका फ्लक्चुएटिंग यानी फ्लेक्सिबल मेथड होता तो क्या होता, $1 से $1 कब 80 हो जाए आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा। दैट इज अनप्रेडिक्टेबल, समथिंग विच कैन नॉट बी प्रेडिक्टेड, फोरकास्टेड। Understood or not understood, everybody? Come on, friends. Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes or no? Friends, is that clear so far? Yes or no? Come on. Okay, great. Understood, sir. Okay, great. Understood, sir. Fantastic. Clear? So, what? Let's do what, friends? Let's do something. Let's discuss few MCQs if we can from our existing knowledge. Okay, before that, I see a word here, indirect quote. So it has become necessary for me to explain you what is direct quote and indirect quote as it is given in the ICAI mat. Can you see? I'm not saying this is the correct answer, but you see the word like direct quote and indirect quote are there. So now I need to explain you what is direct quote and indirect quote. Are you ready, everybody? Put the heading direct quote and indirect quote. Put the heading direct quote and indirect quote. Put the heading direct quote and indirect quote. Direct quote and indirect quote. Sir, could you please explain it to us? Yes, sir, sure. I will explain it to you. Write down. Quote, indirect quote. You know, when you will move to the inter level, CA inter level, you will have a subject called financial management. And at the final level, you have advanced financial management. When I was giving the final CA final examinations, that time it was called SFM, Strategic Financial Management. There we got to study about foreign exchange rate. Sums were there in financial management. That so SFM, that is Advanced Financial Management, used to be one of my favorite subjects. So let's discuss it now. There is direct quote and then there is indirect quote. Now, what is it? See, 1 unit of foreign currency. If you write it like this, FC means foreign currency. 1 unit of foreign currency equals to number of units of local currency. When you write it like this, equals to number of units of local currency. Friends, if you plan to write it like this, friends, if you plan to write it like this, friends, if you plan to write it like this, that is called a direct quote. 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 Okay, got it? Yes, sir, that's clear. Yes, that's clear, sir. But if you write it like 1 unit of local currency, local means home currency, of course. Local means home currency. जिस country से आप हो उसकी currency. The country from where you originate is your local currency. Okay? 1 unit of local currency equals to number of units of foreign currency is what we say as indirect quote. Sir, we did not understand. Sir, हमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आया बात. चलें और आसान करता हूं मैं आपके लिए, और आसान भाषा में बोलता हूं. $1 है. You have $1. You have $1 equals to 70 rupees. You have $1 equals to 80 rupees. You have $1 equals to 80 rupees. That's a direct quote. That's a direct quote. That's a direct quote. But if I say 1 rupee, 1 rupee equals to, suppose for example, okay, for that, for just example purposes, I'm saying 1 rupee is $0.0125. When I say a language like this, so see, 1 rupee, 1 unit of local currency is how many units of foreign currency? That is the language I have used. That is direct and indirect quote. Remember, direct quote is also called European quotation system, European quotation rate. It is also called, direct quote is also called European quotation system or European currency quotation. And you know, Europe and America almost go opposite to one another. So also called European currency quotation. This is also called American currency quotation. 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 Is that clear, friends? Yes or no? Come on, students. Yes or no? Is that clear, friends? Yes or no? Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes, sir. It's crystal clear. Yes, sir. It's crystal clear. Just note it down, everybody. Just note it down, everybody. Also remember that here in this method, direct quote, one more point, let me write it down. In direct quote, you see the foreign currencies on this side. So the foreign currency is called the base currency. Is called the base currency. Is called the base currency. Foreign currency is the base currency. And the local currency is the counter currency. Local means the domestic currency. That is the home currency. Domestic currency is the counter currency. Is the counter currency. Understood, dear students? Yes, no difference. Correct. Karthik is telling, sir, ultimately no difference, just a way of writing. Yes, you are correct, dear. Now, friends, if I write it like this, na, domestic currency, then, dear students, here, domestic currency is the base currency. Then here, domestic currency is the base currency. And your foreign currency, जो आपका foreign currency है, उसको counter currency बोलते हैं. उसको counter currency बोलते हैं. Counter currency. Just the way of writing. That's right. Is that crystal clear, dear students? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Yes or no? Acha, now I am teaching you another word. I am teaching you another word. That is called, pay attention, everyone, right? Peg. Sir, what is peg? Friends, peg means fixing of exchange rate. Peg means fixing of exchange rate by the government. Fixing of rate by the government. Fixing of exchange rate by the government. Fixing of exchange rate by the government. Fixing of exchange rate by the government. Okay, somebody is writing. So please write it down. No problem. I'll wait. Done or not, friends? Right. Now, students, now students, we will talk about some more concepts. Some more concepts we are going to speak about. Are we ready? Yes, sir. All right. Before we move, see, the floating rate has many advantages. Floating, where who decides? The exchange rate, market forces of demand and supply. Under floating, who decides the exchange rate? Market forces of demand and supply. Under floating, who decides the exchange rate? Market forces of demand and supply. Who decides? Market forces of demand and supply. Got it? Not got it? So see, a floating rate has the greatest advantage of allowing a central bank or government to pursue its own monetary policy. You know, the advantage of floating rate is that it shows the broad-mindedness of the government and the RBI, that they are not trying to interfere with the macroeconomic decisions. That is the exchange rate. Floating or flexible exchange rate allows exchange rate to be used as a policy tool. Also, as there is no obligation to intervene in the market, the central bank is not required to maintain a huge reserve. See, if government has the stress, अगर government के ऊपर जिम्मेदारी है कि government को exchange rate बढ़ाना या घटाना है, तो government के पास reserves होना चाहिए. बट अगर गवर्नमेंट को एक्सचेंज रेट के साथ कोई छेड़छाड़ ही नहीं करना है, क्यों? क्योंकि एक्सचेंज रेट तो मार्केट डिसाइड करता है, तो गवर्नमेंट के पास एक्सचेंज रेट का स्टॉक होना जरूरी नहीं है. सर, ये पॉइंट हम लोग को कुछ नहीं समझ में आया. ओके, let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you. If you all are ready, then I will explain. Okay? Pay attention. How? Write down the question. How government fluctuates exchange rate? Write down this question. How government fluctuates exchange rate? Write it down. How government fluctuates exchange rate? How government fluctuates exchange rate? Government कैसे exchange rate को fluctuate करता है? Write it down. How government fluctuates exchange rate? Let's write it down. Let's try and understand what is going on. Let's try and understand what is going on. Please pay attention, everyone. Okay? Friends, friends, do you know around 5 to 10 years back, Maggie was banned? Forget, huh? I am giving you a separate example. Forget it. Okay? Okay. Friends, suppose one Maggie packet cost is rupees 10. Cool? One Maggie packet is costing rupees 10. यस दीप्ति, यही मैं आपको अभी बता रहा हूं। सेकंड पॉइंट का मतलब और थर्ड पॉइंट का मतलब ही मैं सिखा रहा हूं आपको। ध्यान से सुनिए, इतनी बात क्लियर है। एक मैगी का पैकेट है जिसका दाम 10 रुपए है। देर इज वन मैगी का पैकेट हुज कॉस्ट इज रुपीज 10। दिस मच इज अंडर कंट्रोल। कूल सर, दिस मच इज अंडर कंट्रोल। आई डिसाइड that let's do something in this world that price of Maggie becomes rupees 15. I want to do something like this. I. I means Ashish Kedia. Okay. I want to do this. I want to change the Maggie price from 10 to rupees 15. Okay. In the market. I am not making Maggie. I am not the manufacturer of Maggie. I am just the user of Maggie. Okay. How I can do that? How I can do that? Tell me. How I can do that? You all are going to be chartered accountants. Come on, apply your brains and tell me. See, let me tell you what I can do. What I can do is I can just do one thing. What I can do is the market has many Maggie packets. I can start buying from the market. Buy from market, buy from market, buy from market. Create demand for Maggie. Create strong demand for Maggie. Create strong demand for Maggie. Strong demand for Maggie. Assume that I have a lot of money, huh? For the time being, assume I have a lot of money. Assume I have a lot of money. Okay? For the time being, okay? Sir, in reality, do you have a lot of money? Friends, if in reality I would have a lot of money, then I would be attending a money's wedding, not taking class today. So whatever it is, let's come back to the point. See, creating strong demand for Maggie. Pay attention. Create strong demand for Maggie. I create so much demand for Maggie that I start buying Maggie from the market. What will happen? You all know when there is excess demand in the market, you have studied it in the microeconomics chapter. Whenever there is excess demand in the market, then what happens to the prices of the commodities? It will rise. Agreed, disagreed? So, sir, why are you talking about Maggie in class? Here is the answer. मैगी की जगह आप फॉरेन करेंसी यूएस डॉलर के बारे में ऐसा सोच लीजिए. Think about US dollar like this. Now, suppose US dollar is rupees 50, and our Indian government wants that $1 becomes rupees 80, for example. So, what will government do? Indian government, what will Indian government do? Indian government will create a demand for US dollars. Indian government will create a demand for US dollars. Indian government will create demand for US dollar, so much so that the price of US dollar from rupees 50 goes to rupees 80, just like the packet of Maggie. So instead of Ashish Kedia, it is basically the Indian government, and instead of Maggie, it is actually the US dollar we are speaking about. Now you have understood how the government controls it. This is about how the government can increase the rate, increase the value of foreign currency. Now I'll discuss the opposite agenda as well. But first of all, is this much clear? Yes or no? Come on, friends. Now, now, same things. But now I want one Maggie packet to go from rupees 10 to rupees 6. I wish I can do that. So what I will do is I will start supply. I have a stock of Maggie. I have a lot of stock of Maggie. I will start supplying Maggie in the economy like anything. What will happen? Once the supply of Maggie, once I increase the supply of Maggie, if I increase the supply of Maggie, automatically what is going to happen is the price per packet of Maggie is going to go down. Same thing with the currency. If the government want exchange rate to fall, If the government wants exchange rate to fall, then government will start selling foreign currency. Then the government will start selling foreign currency in the market to increase supply, to create a situation of excess supply. Understood? Not understood. So don't ask me how the government changes exchange rate. This is how it does it. And now remember, government has a lot of money. Government in fact prints money. Hence the answer. Now I hope it's clear. Now I hope it's clear, everybody. Come on. Hopefully it's clear, everybody. Right, sir, it's clear to us. Right, sir, it's clear to us. Right, sir, it's clear to us. So let's forward. Let's move forward now. Let's move forward now. Let's move forward now. Let's see what else is going on. Okay. Let's move forward now. Let's see what else is going on now. Okay. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right. Pay attention now. Friends, there are two exchange rates I am referring here. One is called the nominal exchange rate. One is called the real exchange rate. There's only one difference. If you want to tell, there's only one difference. Nominal exchange rate system doesn't consider inflation. Huh? Doesn't consider inflation effect. Doesn't consider if inflation effect. Doesn't consider inflation effect. Doesn't consider inflation effect. Nominal exchange rate doesn't consider inflation effect. Real exchange rate does consider inflation effect. Thus consider inflation effect. Thus consider inflation effect. Thus consider inflation effect. Got it? Now let's try and understand. Huh? Let's try and understand. Suppose, example, you can be asked to compute. You will be given nominal exchange rate. You can be asked to compute real exchange rate. Let me give you an example. Okay. Suppose nominal exchange rate. Suppose nominal exchange rate has been given to us. Suppose the nominal exchange rate has been given to us, and it is how much? 1 US dollar equals to rupees 56. Suppose. Now, let's say price index in India is 116. Let's suppose price index in America is 112. Okay. The question will ask you, find out the real exchange rate. So here I'll also teach you the formula. Okay. Here I'll also teach you the formula. Find out the real exchange rate. First you copy this much down and then I'll tell you what the real exchange rate is. पहले इतना कॉपी कर लें आप लोग. सी, यू हैव कॉपीड इट। इतना कॉपी हो गया तो लिखिए। इतना अगर कॉपी हो गया तो लिखिए, बताइए। सो सी, सी, friends, real exchange rate. Friends, when we talk about real exchange rate, what is real exchange rate is equals to? Real exchange rate is equals to C. Nominal exchange rate into domestic price index. Nominal exchange rate into domestic price index by foreign price index. By foreign price index. By foreign price index. हो गया? So now everyone pay attention. What is it going to? It's going to, friends, nominal exchange rate into. So see, what is the nominal exchange rate? 56 into domestic price index. Domestic price index means price index in India. 116 by what is foreign price index? That is USA price index. Please tell me, what is the exchange rate? Understood? So, please tell me the computation. Okay, one of our friends is saying, sir, 58 per dollar. So this is the real exchange rate. I told you na, this considers inflation effect as well. This one, 56 one, did not consider the inflation effect. But sir, can you tell real exchange rate in simple term? क्या आप रियल एक्सचेंज रेट का मतलब और सरल भाषा में समझा सकेंगे हम लोगों को? बिल्कुल समझा सकूंगा। पहले इतना कॉपी हो जाए तो बताइए। If you have copied this, just tell me so that I can simplify it further for you. So now let's write it down in simple terms. Real exchange rate describes how many units, how many units, how many units of a good or a service, of a good or a service, how many units of a good or a service in one country can be traded. Real exchange rate describes how many units of a good or a service in one country. How many units of a good or a service? Real exchange rate describes how many units of a good or a service in one country can be traded for. Can be traded for. 1 unit of that good or service in a foreign country. Sir means what? Sir, what does it mean? It means, simply speaking, when we write rupees 58 per dollar, so if something will cost $1 in America, it would cost 58 rupees in India. It's what they are trying to say. Real exchange rate system. How many units of a good or a service in one country can be traded for 1 unit of that good or service in a foreign country? Understood? This is what real exchange rate is. Now, I have a question. It's not exactly an MCQ question, but let's ask this. अगर आप लोगों को समझ में आया तो आप लोग इसका जवाब सही दीजिएगा. Which one is more reliable? My question to you all is, आपसे मेरा सवाल ये है कि ज्यादा भरोसेमंद कौन है? Which one is more reliable? I present to you two information. Number one, you can say real exchange rate, or number two, you can say nominal exchange rate. Come on, tell me which one is more reliable. Come on, tell me which one is more reliable. Answer me this. Answer me this. Come on, tell me which one is more reliable. Come on, guys. Very good. You all have answered this correctly. You all have answered this correctly. Real exchange rate. Very good. I can see who has given correct answer. I will take their names. Anushka, KS Anag, Priyanka, Karthik, Partho. Very good, Partho. Good answer. Manya, Pawan, Hitesh, Anjali, Juhi, Anuj, Nancy, Ashinka. All these friends have given the correct answer. The answer is of course रियल एक्सचेंज रेट इन्फ्लेशन को भी कंसिडर करता है. वो इन्फ्लेशन को भी कैलकुलेशन में कंसिडर करता है. तो ऑफ कोर्स रियल एक्सचेंज रेट ज्यादा रिलायबल है, ज्यादा भरोसेमंद है. इस पे कोई दो राय नहीं है. रियल एक्सचेंज रेट इज मोर रिलायबल. इज मोर रिलायबल. So friends, with this, I have also completed nominal and real exchange rate discussion. Let me show it in our respected institutes material. Here it is. Nominal versus real exchange rate. This is the formula that we just discussed. Okay. Now we are going to talk about foreign exchange market and about the change in exchange rate. Foreign exchange markets and the change in exchange rates. For before that, I know you will need a 5-minute break. So those who need the break can take the break. Those who have doubts, I am in the class. I am not taking any break. Can ask me the question. है ना? Doubt time. Those who need break can take 5 minutes break, and those who have doubts can ask me the doubt. Come on, ask. Come on, friends. No, Karthik, it will be exactly what I have explained. Ashinka, पेग मीन्स फिक्सिंग ऑफ एक्सचेंज रेट बाय द गवर्नमेंट. आशंका मान लीजिए गवर्नमेंट बोलता है अब से ₹75 $1 होगा, बस इस फिक्स करने को ही पेग करना बोलते हैं. बस फिक्स करने का ऑल्टरनेटिव नेम है पेग. खत्म बात. Yes, Anushka, in as far as managed float is concerned, the control is with both. It is both with the market forces. In this particular peg system, the control is both with the market forces. Control is both with the market forces as well as with the government. You are correct. As long as it is fluctuating between the limit, the control lies with the market forces. But as soon as it tries to touch any of the ceilings or the floor, then the government interferes. Is that clear, friends? हाँ. Yes, Karthik, we can say so. Okay. Now, friends, the question is, what is a foreign exchange market? Who come under this market? Who are the participants under this market? Who are the participants in this market? Who are the participants in this market? So now let's talk about what is foreign exchange market. Friends, all those markets and institutions, हर वो मार्केट और इंस्टीट्यूशन जो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज में डील करता है, जो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज को होल्ड करता है, खरीदता है, बेचता है, वो फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट है. The collection of all those market and institutions who deal in foreign exchange, who buy and sell foreign exchange, come under the definition of foreign exchange market. Example, banks, speculators who guess that exchange rate will go up or down, arbitragers, everyone comes under the definition of market. Brokers, multinational corporations, NBFCs, non-banking financial companies, all this come under the definition of foreign exchange market, dear students. Got it? Yes, sir, got it. So let's write it down. The collection of markets and institutions that handle that handle the exchange of foreign currency is called foreign exchange market. Is called foreign exchange market. Who are the market participants here? Participants. Sir, who are the market participants here? Friends, you have the central banks, you have the commercial banks, you have the government, then you have the foreign exchange dealers, multinational corporations, NBFC, non-banking financial companies, etc., etc. So all this come under, you know, the definition of the term foreign exchange market. Understood, not understood? There are many. There are many speculators, arbitrageurs. All this come under the definition of foreign exchange market. Here it is. Foreign exchange market. In the foreign exchange market, dear students, there are two types of transactions that take place. Very important discussion. Very important discussion. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट के अंदर दो तरीके के ट्रांजैक्शंस टेक प्लेस करते हैं. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट के अंदर दो तरीके के ट्रांजैक्शंस टेक प्लेस करते हैं. नंबर वन, करंट ट्रांजैक्शंस carried out in the spot market and exchange involves immediate delivery, and future transactions where contracts are agreed upon for future delivery which are carried on in forward or future market. So let me explain this too. आप लोग को समझना है ये ना? यस सर, बताइए, आप हम लोग को सुनना है. Two types of transactions in foreign exchange markets. Two types of transactions. Two types of transactions in foreign exchange market. Friends, there are mainly two types of transactions in foreign exchange markets. Number one, transactions in foreign exchange market. Number one, current or spot transactions. Current or spot transactions. Forward or future transactions. For this, you will need to listen to me carefully. क्या आप लोग रेडी हैं एक और एग्जांपल सुनने के लिए? हाँ ना बोलना पड़ेगा जी. Forward slash future transactions. Once you all are ready, friends, come on. Is this clear so far, everybody? Yes or no? Now pay attention, everyone. Now pay attention, everyone. Listen carefully, everyone. See. So there are two kinds of transactions we are talking about. One is current transaction and the other is forward or future transaction. Okay. That's cool, sir. That's cool, sir. So what are we exactly talking about now? What are we exactly speaking about, sir? Pay attention. See, if we talk about current slash spot transaction, if you talk about current slash spot transactions, everyone, if you talk about current slash spot transaction, it means suppose I buy from US, suppose I buy from US goods worth rupees $1,000. Why rupees? Goods worth $1,000. Okay, goods worth $1,000. Now to pay, to pay. For example, $1 is rupees 80. How much I will need today? I will need 1,000 into 80, rupees 80,000. So suppose I go to a bank, I give them 80,000 and in exchange of 80,000, I get $1,000. तो जो हुआ वो अभी हुआ, जो हुआ वो अभी हुआ। अभी मैंने $1,000 दिया और अभी मैंने 80,000 लिया, अभी मैंने $1,000 दिया और अभी मैंने 80,000 लिया। ऐसा ट्रांजैक्शन जो होता हुआ आपको नजर आ रहा है, इसको मेरे दोस्तों हम लोग करेंट ट्रांजैक्शन बोलते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, द काइंड ऑफ transaction that you see here, where I give the delivery of dollars and take the, or where I give the delivery of rupees and take the delivery of dollars, such a transaction in reality is called current transaction or spot transaction, and the market is called spot market or current market. Is that clear, everybody? Yes or no? Come on, guys, all have to confirm. All have to confirm. हाँ sir, it's clear to us. Yes sir, it's clear to us. Let's move on. Friends, now I'll talk to you about forward or future transaction. Now I'll be speaking to you about forward or future transaction. Okay. Forward or future transaction. Friends, now I'll be speaking to you about forward or future transaction. Hopefully you all are ready for it. Yes, sir, we surely are. Friends, suppose A imports goods worth rupees $5,000 from America. Okay. B stays in America, A stays in India. The terms and conditions have been so decided that A is going to make the payment to B 3 months later. A B को पैसे तो देगा $5,000, बट अभी नहीं देगा, 3 महीने बाद देगा। कब देगा? 3 महीने बाद देगा। अब सुनना, अब मजा आएगा, अब सुनना मजा आएगा। नाउ लिसन केयरफुली। करेंटली करेंटली $1 इज रुपीज 80। अभी तो $1 ₹80 चल रहा है, बट ए को एक डर है जिसकी वजह से वो रात में सो नहीं पा रहा है। ए हैज अ फियर बिकॉज ऑफ विच ही इज अवेक एट नाइट। टेल मी दैट फियर, व्हाट इज दैट फियर? वो डर क्या है? व्हाट इज दैट फियर? बताओ। हाँ, वेरी गुड, क्या बात है सर। द फियर ऑफ ए इज, द फियर ऑफ ए इज, ए का डर ये है सर कि क्या पता इन फ्यूचर 3 months later, what if $1 becomes 85, 90, basically greater than rupees 80. That is the fear of A. Yes. So to cut that fear out, a special market has been created. That's called the forward market. Here, what will happen? Here, A will go to a bank. A will go to a bank, and A will sign a contract with a bank. A will go to a bank, and A will sign a contract with the bank. A will go to a bank, and A will sign a contract with the bank. जहां पे, wherein A will make the contract with the bank that A is going to sell the bank $5,000, or basically give the give basically, you know basically 81 US dollar 80. They are going to decide it today. They are going to decide it today. But 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 they are going to buy $1 at 80 rupees. A contracts with the bank for 3 months later. So A has not given any money to the bank now. When will A give money to the bank? 3 months later. But contract कब बन गया? आज. इसको बोलते हैं फॉरवर्ड ट्रांजैक्शन या फॉरवर्ड मार्केट. क्लियर होगा, हाँ या ना बोलना पड़ेगा. आई एम श्योर इट्स क्लियर टू एवरीबडी. हाँ या ना बोलना पड़ेगा. कम ऑन गाइस, कम ऑन फ्रेंड्स, कम ऑन फ्रेंड्स. इज दैट क्लियर सो फार? यस और नो? Is that clear, dear students? Is that clear, dear students? Yes, sir. Now, now, friends, is that clear to everybody? Yes, sir. It's crystal clear to us. Now, friends, let's move forward. Determination of nominal exchange rate. How is exchange rate calculated? By the market forces. Okay. Determination of nominal exchange rate. How it is calculated? Nominal exchange rate. How is nominal exchange rate decided? Determination of nominal exchange rate is basically done by the market forces of demand and supply. Who does it? Right? You are right, everybody. Exchange rate is decided by the market forces of demand and supply. How are exchange rates decided, everybody? By the market forces of demand and supply. By the market forces of demand and supply. Friends, how are exchange rate decided? By the market forces of demand and supply. How are exchange rate decided, friends? By the market forces of demand and supply. Now, why do demand for foreign exchange arise? Why do supply of foreign exchange arise? So the causes behind demand for foreign exchange. Can anyone tell me? आज क्लास में ही मैंने शुरू में बताया था. In the beginning of the class, I had told everybody what factors cause the demand for foreign exchange to be increased. And again, to the contrary, what factors cause the supply of foreign exchange to be increased? Supply of foreign exchange. Supply of foreign exchange. And then there is demand for foreign exchange. On one side, you have demand for foreign exchange, and on the other, you have supply of foreign exchange. Yes, sir, it's crystal clear to us. Yes, sir, it's crystal clear to us. So, friends, now let's indulge into the further discussion. Let's indulge into the further discussion. Pay attention, everybody. Factors causing the demand for foreign exchange. When you purchase something from outside, when you purchase goods and services from outside, and when does supply increase? Of course, when you sell goods and services to the other country, because they make payment in dollars, we take this dollars and convert it into rupee in India. Huh? Because of gifts, grants. Try and understand, na? Your parents live abroad, suppose in America. So now, if your parents live in America and you want to send them a gift, first you got to have US dollars with you. Same here also. Somebody from outside sends you a gift or a grant. Grant is just a help. When you purchase some assets or shares or debentures outside India, then you will need that currency ना. आपको उस कंट्री का करेंसी होगा आपके पास, तब ना उस कंट्री में आप जमीन खरीद सकेंगे, उस कंट्री की कंपनीज की शेयर्स खरीद सकेंगे, डिबेंचर्स खरीद सकेंगे. Friends, when does supply of foreign exchange arise? When does supply of foreign exchange arise? Of course, when you sell assets, you will get money. When you have some assets abroad, when you have some shares abroad that you sell, then you get your payment. So these are some of the sources. But then, sir, but then, sir, you were teaching us, आप तो हम लोग को बताने वाले थे कि नॉमिनल एक्सचेंज रेट डिसाइड कैसे होता है. ये डायग्राम जो अब मैं बनाने वाला हूं, आप लोगों ने माइक्रो में देखा है. द डायग्राम दैट आई एम गोइंग टू ड्रॉ नाउ, यू हैव सीन इट इन द section of microeconomics. Right, sir? Right, sir? Right, sir? So, friends, you can say here the exchange rate, here the exchange rate, this is dollar. Pay attention, everyone. Now, yeah, quantity demanded for dollar of dollar, quantity of dollar supplied or demanded, whatever it is. Now, this is the demand for dollar. Okay, exchange rate is what? Basically, the price for dollars. Hi, Anna. So, this is the price axis, that is the quantity axis. So, this is demand, this is supply curve. So, friends, the interaction that takes place is here. And hence, dear students, this is the quantity of dollar and this is the price of dollar. This is the exchange rate. At this rate, the dollar value is decided. So suppose at this rate, $1 is equals to rupees 75. Suppose, so then nominal exchange rate becomes $1 equals to 75 rupees. Hopefully it's crystal clear to everybody. Yes or no, everyone? Yes or no, everyone? Come on, friends. Come on, everybody. Let's try and discuss this further. Friends, Now I'll tell you two words. You got to understand those very clearly. Okay. Number one is deep depreciation. Number one is depreciation. Okay. Number one is depreciation. And number two is devaluation. सर क्या मतलब क्या है थोड़ा बताइए. फर्स्ट लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ बोथ. बोथ दोनों का एक ही एग्जांपल है. सपोज $1. Suppose $1. Everyone pay attention. Okay. $1. Suppose $1 was 72 rupees. Okay. तो पहले $1 खरीदने के लिए 72 रुपीज देना पड़ता था. तो बाई $1 इनिशियली वी हैड टू गिव 72 rupees. नाउ पे अटेंशन. सपोज this $1, dear students, becomes $1 equal to rupees 75. So see, initially we had to pay for buying $1, we had to pay 72 rupees. Now in order to buy $1, we have to pay 75 rupees. So basically the value, the value of Indian currency has fallen. The value of Indian currency has fallen. And the value of foreign currency has risen. कैसे? क्योंकि पहले $1 के लिए 72 इंडियन रुपीस देना पड़ता था, 72. Now we have to pay 75. So the respect of dollar has increased, but respect of our home currency rupee has declined. That is called depreciation and devaluation. Depreciation or devaluation. So sir, are both the same? No, 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 no. Example is the same. Reason behind the two occurring is different. पहले इतनी बात clear है, convinced हो, हाँ ना बोलिए. Come on everyone. Right. So when does depreciation take place? Friends, under the floating rate system, when market forces reduce the value of rupee, तब उसको बोलते हैं depreciation. अगर market system में हो यानी कि floating rate system में हो. But यदि rupees की value गिरती है, if the value of rupee falls due to fixed exchange rate system, that is due to the government interference, then we call it devaluation. So the impact is same. That is $1 of 72 becomes $1 of 75. That is the same. The impact is the same. The cause behind that impact is different in the two cases. I am sure it's clear to each one of you. Yes or no? Come on, guys. So see, basically what is happening, it is a decrease in currency's value. It is a decrease in currency's value due to market forces under a floating exchange rate system. Under a floating exchange rate system. Here, it is a decrease. It is a deliberate means intentional, जानबूझकर. It is a deliberate downward adjustment in value of a country's currency. Of a country's currency. That is the primary difference between the two. So when does it take place? It takes place under OCHA. It takes place under fixed exchange rate. That we have written, na? So no need to write anything else. Fixed exchange rate system, bus. That is prima facie the main difference. Friends, another thing I have to tell you if you are ready. Now, after depreciation, on the opposite end, you have appreciation. Appreciation. And to the contrary, in place of devaluation, you have revaluation. You have revaluation. You have revaluation. Revaluation. So, friends, first appreciation example. Suppose appreciation and revaluation, both example remains the same. So, suppose one US dollar is rupees 72 and it becomes US $1 becomes rupees 69. So, when friends this happens, from 72, it went to 75 earlier. It has now become 69. That is, rupee has become stronger now. Rupiah strong ho gaya. Rupiah strong ho gaya. Rupees has become stronger. Dollar has become weaker. Friends, that is called appreciation or revaluation. Again, the cause of the two is different. Appreciation is rise in the value of domestic currency under floating exchange rate regime. If it is floating, so it is just the opposite of depreciation. You guessed it correctly. Under floating exchange rate regime. Under floating exchange rate regime. But revaluation is the same thing, deliberate upward adjustment under fixed exchange rate system. Under fixed exchange rate system. System. Got it, friends? Yes, sir, we did indeed get it. Now, friends, one important thing is the diagram that institute may ask you. One important thing is the diagram that institute may ask you, and then we shall move on to the MCQ practice portion. Okay, but before that we will do some diagram practice. उसके पहले मैं आपको कुछ diagrams बताने वाला हूँ. सुनिएगा जरा ध्यान से आप लोग. ठीक है ना? अब मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ what I am teaching you guys is depreciation on one side and appreciation on the other. But sir, you have taught us already. Depreciation आपने बता दिया, appreciation आपने बता दिया. No, I have not told you the causes. That I am trying to explain. I have not told you the diagrams that I am going to teach. Okay. So depreciation here and appreciation here. Okay. Let us clarify the same to you. Meaning you all already know. So कोई तुक नहीं बनता इस बात का कि मैं अब मीनिंग आपके साथ दोबारा दोहराऊं. ठीक है ना? Depreciation, the home currency value is going to fall. In revaluation, in appreciation, the home currency value is going to rise. That is of course true. But see, the cause behind depreciation is the cause behind depreciation is demand for foreign currency goes up. So if demand for foreign currency goes up, indirectly demand for home currency goes down. That is the logic. Okay. And here the main cause is for appreciation of our currency means home currency. The reason is supply of foreign currency has increased. Because of that, price of foreign currency has fallen. If price of foreign currency has fallen, of course, price of our domestic currency, rupee, is going to rise. So the cause is supply of foreign currency goes up. That is prima facie the main difference. ये नोट डाउन कर लें, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. It's highly likely that you may get a question out of this in exam. Very very important. So now the diagram, please. The diagram. See depreciation. This diagram that I will draw, you have already done under the market mechanism chapter in microeconomics. In microeconomics, you must have already done. This is the exchange rate. This is the prevailing exchange rate. And this is the quantity. Exchange rate is referring to what? Basically the price of dollars. Okay. These diagrams that I am reflecting right away, friends, you have done it. I am 100% sure. Under that equilibrium chapter under markets. Okay. So see, initially demand is this and supply is this. Okay. So let me say, Acha, when I say demand, it is demand for dollars I am talking about. We are not talking about demand for foreign currency in this diagram. No, 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 not at all. This is demand for dollars. This is supply of dollars. And somehow this is the prevailing exchange rate. Quantity that can be exchanged, price at which it can be exchanged. Perfect? Sir, perfect. Sir, perfect. So quantity and price you are having here, dear students. Quantity and price you are having here, dear students. Now, here changes the language. What happens here is demand for foreign currency goes up. Whenever this happens, you know there is a rightward shift. That is D1 dollar. Yes or no? So see automatically what this has happened to exchange rate. See, it has risen. See, exchange rate has risen. Yes or no? Exactly my point. As you have moved from this point to this point. ये डायग्राम किया हुआ आप लोग को मानना पड़ेगा, हाँ ना बोलना होगा जी. Yes sir, we have indeed done this. Moving on. Now see, if this is the demand curve and this is the supply curve, again the originally existing demand and supply curves I mean here, right? This is the price. This is the quantity. Perfect. Now, dear students, what happens is, supply of foreign currency goes up. Gone up. So this is S1 dollars. Where it is intersecting? Here it is intersecting. So see what has happened to prices. As I had already told you, these are the respective diagrams. I need all of you to draw this before I move to MCQs now. अब मैं सीधा एमसीक्यू पे जाने वाला हूं. Understood, friends? So let's go ahead. So let's go ahead, friends. Let's go ahead, friends. Let's go ahead, friends. MCQs. Let's see now. Based on supply and demand model of determination of exchange rate, which of the following ought to cause the domestic currency of country X to appreciate against dollar? Okay, ought to cause the domestic currency of country X to appreciate. Remember, the word appreciation is being used. Appreciation word is being used. It means it is occur due to market forces. Due to market forces. Okay, and when does appreciation occurs? Have you forgotten? Appreciation occurs. अभी मैंने आपको बताया. अभी I told you appreciation occurs when supply of foreign currency goes up. When supply of foreign currency goes up. US decides not to import from country X, wrong. Increase in remittances from employees who are employed abroad to their families. Yes. Why? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ remittances का? लोग विदेश में जो कमा रहे हैं वो कमा के पैसे अपने फैमिली के पास भेज रहे हैं. So this is creating an increase in supply of foreign currency in our country. This is causing increase in supply of foreign currency in our country, and whenever there is increase in foreign currency supply, then appreciation will take place. So a very good question indeed asked by ICAI. Understood or not understood? Yes or no? Come on. Right, sir. Next, moving on to the next question. Let's see what it is all about. All else equal means everything remaining constant. Which of the following is true if consumers of India develop taste for imported commodities and decide to buy more from the US? So people are starting to buy more from the US. The demand curve for dollar shift to the right and Indian rupee appreciates. No. How will Indian rupee appreciate? Indian rupee will depreciate na if demand for dollars shift to the right. So it's wrong. The supply of dollar shrinks. No. And therefore import prices decrease. No, 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 no. See next one. Demand for dollars shift to the right, yes, and Indian rupee depreciates. Because if demand for dollars have gone up, अरे अगर डिमांड डॉलर का बढ़ा है तो वैल्यू भी तो डॉलर का बढ़ेगा, तो इंडिया के करेंसी का वैल्यू गिरेगा. Okay, because people are preferring more of foreign commodity than of commodity in our own country. Moving on, let's see the third one. The nominal exchange rate is expressed in units of one currency per unit of the other currency, right? A real exchange rate adjusts this for changes in price level. Very good statement. Wholly correct. No question asked. Perfectly correct. I told you real exchange rate adjusts inflation, while the nominal exchange rate system is just one unit of currency on the other currency. It is just conversion. Nominal exchange rate is blind conversion, while the real value is considered by real exchange rate. Sir, correct answer. Absolutely. Moving on to the fourth one. Match the following by choosing the term which has the same meaning. Okay. Same meaning terms we will have to match. Same meaning terms we will have to match. Floating exchange rate is as flexible exchange rate system. Okay, that's correct. Peg. Peg I means fixed exchange rate. Okay. Devaluation is similar to depreciation, right? And depreciation is similar to revaluation. So my answer would be one. One का क्या था भाई? अच्छा, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Slight misprint. This is one, this is two, this is three, this is four. Okay? So one D से related है, two A से related है, three is related to B, and four is related to C. One D, two A, three B, four C. That is in fourth case. So that is my answer, friends. Hopefully it's clear, everybody. Moving on. Moving on. Let's see the next one. Let's see the next one, number 5. An indirect quote is the number of units of a local currency exchangeable for 1 unit of foreign currency. नहीं, उल्टा लिखा है. The fixed exchange rate system is said to be efficient and highly transparent. No, it's not transparent. Why? Because here there is entirely dictatorship being seen, entire government control being seen. A direct is the number of units of a local currency. For example, US $1, I told now, is rupees 70. So that is correct. A direct quote is the number of units of a local currency for 1 unit of foreign currency. So see, 1 unit of foreign currency, units of local currency. That's correct answer. That's correct answer. Sixth one, let's see. Which of the following statement is true? Home currency appreciates or foreign currency depreciates. Takes place home currency appreciation or foreign currency depreciation. Excuse me. Takes place home currency appreciation or foreign currency depreciation. Takes place when there is a decrease in the home currency price of foreign currency. When there is a decrease in the home currency price of foreign currency. When there is a decrease in the home currency price of foreign currency. When there is a decrease in home currency price of foreign currency. True statement. No, it's not. Let's move on to other. Home currency depreciation takes place when there is an increase in wrong. No, see, see. Let's read again. Home currency appreciation or depreciation takes place when there is a decrease in home currency price. हाँ सही है. Correct, 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 correct. That is correct. Home currency when there is an increase in home currency price of the foreign currency. Yes. See, two are correct. My answer is all of the above. I don't need to see anything else. Sir, please explain. Okay, I will tell you. होम करेंसी अप्रिसिएशन का मतलब क्या हुआ? होम करेंसी अप्रिशिएट का मतलब है फॉरेन करेंसी का सप्लाई बढ़ गया. अब देखिए आप लोग, व्हेन देयर इज अ डिक्रीज इन होम करेंसी प्राइस ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी, होम करेंसी प्राइस ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी, जब फॉरेन करेंसी का प्राइस गिर गया, why it has fallen? Because the supply of foreign currency has risen, and whenever supply of foreign currency rise, then appreciation takes place. ये बताया हुआ है. और ठीक इसका उल्टा depreciation है. दोनों सही है. I will not read the third one. All of the above. Let's move on to the seventh one, friends. An increase in supply of foreign exchange. Okay, supply demand. Shift the supply to the right, and as a consequence, exchange rate declines. Yes, very good. You see here, यहां पर मैंने अभी आप लोगों को ये डायग्राम दिखाया. ये रहा, देख लीजिए. एक्सचेंज रेट नीचे चला गया था जब सप्लाई ऑफ द फॉरेन करेंसी वेंट अप. चेक कर लो, चेक कर लो. ये मैंने अभी आपको बताया था, इसीलिए अभी बताया, बिकॉज याद रहे व्हेन वी सॉल्व. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लेट्स सी द एट्थ वन. व्हाट इज इट ऑलरेडी? ओ, डिवैल्यूएशन. करेंसी डिवैल्यूएशन. करेंसी का वैल्यू गिर जाना, होम करेंसी का वैल्यू गिर जाना, मतलब होम करेंसी सस्ता हो जाना. अगर इफ अवर होम करेंसी बिकम सस्ता, पे अटेंशन, if our home currency becomes cheap, then our product in the international market becomes cheap, so the prices for export becomes cheap, so the chances of export rises. This is in B. Reduces export prices and increase the competitiveness, because now since rupee is devalued, rupee has become cheaper for foreign people, and since it has become cheaper, rupee becoming cheaper is equivalent to Indian products becoming cheaper for the foreign people, and so competitiveness of Indian products will rise in the international market. or at any point of time, yes, exchange rate remains the same due to arbitrage. Arbitrage is basically taking advantage of mispricing. I will explain that further, but now you can write what is arbitrage? Taking advantage of mispricing. Arbitrage means taking advantage of mispricing. Write it down. Arbitrage, sir, how? That we will discuss, but you note it down na, for the time being. Let's move on to the 10th one. Vehicle currency. Okay. Dollar is the vehicle currency, first of all. Dollar is the vehicle currency. Basically, in all the world, all the commodities are expressed in US dollar. For example, euro. European currency is also expressed in dollar terms. Rupee is also expressed in dollar terms. Chinese yen is also expressed in dollar terms. So basically, dollar is the vehicle currency. Remember, dollar is the vehicle currency, a currency that is widely used to denominate international contracts, which is not the national currency. Remember, write it down. इन द प्रेजेंट वर्ल्ड डॉलर इज द व्हीकल करेंसी, मतलब वो करेंसी जिसमें सारी करेंसीज को एक्सप्रेस किया जाता है जनरली वर्ल्ड मार्केट में आपकी कंट्री में नहीं, वर्ल्ड मार्केट में. तो डॉलर इज द व्हीकल करेंसी एंड डी इज द डेफिनेशन. Is that clear, friends? Yes, sir. So, friends, we have completed our unit exchange rate and its economic effects as well. That's it for the day. Goodbye. Thank you very much, everyone.